What's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up?
Hey, listen, it's Thursday and we're starting this new trend. Hopefully, you were here with us last week or you got to catch the replay of last week's episode of Inside the Relationship. It was a great episode, man. The media mixdown was crazy. Today's is crazy as well. So we're looking forward to hearing what your thoughts
input,
are.
yeah.
What's your input around that? So listen. I'm not even gonna do no introductory stuff, no long talking. We're just gonna get into it. This is Inside the Relationship, and it's time for another episode. So let's get it started. You ready to get it started?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
You're watching Inside the Relationship with Denise and Ollie.
So sit back, relax, and let's talk about all things relationships. You already know what it is. It is Thursday. Good evening to you, or wherever you're watching this, because it might be night, it might be morning, whatever the case may be.
What's up?
This is going to be a good show.
It is.
We got a great guest. My brother is here. Pat Graham is in the building.
Yay.
And we're going to talk to Pat Graham in just a second. And I kind of want to get him up as soon as possible. So we're not going to say too much before we get into our segments. But listen, if this is your first time joining us, I'm Oliver. This is my lovely wife, Denise, and we are passionate about seeing relationships thrive. And that's what we do. That's our thing.
Do.
Listen, so the only thing we're going to ask of you before we get into this is, if you're watching this now with us live, or if you're watching the replay, hit the share button. We want to get some people in the comments. I will say in the very beginning, we want you to be a part of our other conversation that happens on Saturday nights. That conversation is Inside the Relationship. No, this is Inside the Relationship. See, I'm mixing it all up.
Have a conversation after dark.
Have a conversation after dark
show.
is the Saturday night show. We want you to be a part of that show. Man, those conversations are crazy. So we need you to be a part of that. If you're watching us live, shout yourself out in the comments. If you're watching us by replay, put replay in the comments. Let us know that you are here with us and that you are ready to rock. If you saw the description, we're talking about in-laws. We're talking about prenups. We're talking about...
Wait, we're talking about what?
Prenups. Nups. Prenups. Numps. Whatever. We talk about the stuff you sign before you get married. How about that?
Saying it.
How about that? That's what we're talking about.
Prenups.
That's how I've always said it, but it's N-U-P-S.
Yes.
Prenups. Okay. So without further ado, since I'm getting clowned over here, we're not even going to talk about that anymore.
Oh my God.
We're just going to get into it. All right. So y'all already know, those who follow us, we're starting out with the media mix down. Let's hit the media mix down. All right, in today's media mix down, here's what we got. There is a lawyer. I think he's in New York. He is actually dubbed America's best divorce lawyer. His name is James Sexton.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching this clip. He was on a podcast, and he was talking about a couple who signed a prenup. Now, in this prenuptial agreement, if they were to divorce, the wife gets $70,000 a month.
If they were to divorce the wife, $70,000.
So he's loaded. Like this guy is loaded.
Yep.
$70,000 a month. Mm-hmm. This guy, she would get.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the clause that was put in. And what's crazy is even the courts was like, that's a ridiculous clause, but we can't deny it because they agreed to it. Here's the clause. If for every 10 pounds that she gains throughout the course of their marriage, she forfeits $10,000. So
10 for 10.
10 for 10. So if they were to divorce today, she would get $70K.
Right.
However, for every 10 pounds that she gains, they knock down $10,000 off of that. So if she gains 20 pounds, she goes from 70,000 down to 50,000 and so forth and so on. And they agreed to that. And James Sexton was talking about how it's a very weird form of love. The whole thing was the guy, and this is why the courts were like, this is ridiculous. You should have never married him. This is exactly what he said, that the court said. He said that the reason for that clause is he suspects that she's going to get bigger and he's going to get richer.
Wow.
Exact words.
Wow.
Exact
That's
words.
First of all, I don't subscribe to prenups. I don't know how I feel about
I was
them.
going to ask you that. That was the next question I was going to ask you.
I don't know how I feel about them. I kind of feel like that shouldn't be a thing.
Hey, let us know in the comments. Would you sign? Well, obviously, if you didn't, if you're married, I guess you wouldn't. But are you open to that? Would you have been open to signing a prenuptial agreement? Now, definitely not one like that, because that clearly shows that he don't really respect this woman already from the jump.
Correct. That was the next thing I was going to say. Like, I don't feel like he respects her. Now, here's the other thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you should be attracted to your spouse.
You think?
Well, not I think.
You
of course
think
not I think. But I'm just saying, at least he was honest and upfront. Like, I'm attracted to this. I'm attracted to this. But I can't get with the prenups. But there are some couples. I know couples. We know a couple where how you look after we get married, how you look after you have children, that's a concern of mine. So at least he was upfront with that.
Okay.
And, you know, he's telling her upfront, this is what I'm attracted to. Not attracted to anything else. Or not attracted to any other way that you look. It's superficial to me.
Is it okay to be superficial? Like, can that fly in a marriage? Can I say, hey, you know, I don't want you to gain any weight?
It did fly in theirs. So,
well, I mean, we got to see how it plays out too.
Yeah,
because she might gain 10 pounds, you know, in the next 7 years, and then what's going to happen then?
I think as long as both people agree to it and understand what the stipulations are, who are we to say? We're outsiders looking in. If that's what you agree to, that's on you. That may not be our cup of tea, but
now here's what's crazy. They did agree to it. And what James Sexton says was that even the courts were like, man, this is the most ridiculous clause we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But they couldn't do anything about it because they
both agreed to it. Yeah.
So they were like, hey, we don't know why. And James said, he even said, man, the courts were like, we don't even know why you married this dude. Yeah. But we can't do anything about it.
Right.
Because you already said that. So listen, that's the media mix down. Tell us your thoughts. First of all, what are your thoughts about prenuptial agreements? And what do you think about this one? I was floored when I heard him talking about this. $70K if they get divorced, which, let me say this just real quick. Here's my thing about prenuptial agreements.
I was going to ask you your take.
I
know what you think.
I feel like, and this goes back to a Saturday night conversation we had. I don't know if you remember. There is a therapist who says that that it is okay to plan for divorce, but it does not mean that you actually are going to be divorced. Just like you plan for your kids' educational future or you plan for your retirement, you should have a plan for just in case things go wrong. So me personally, I feel like if I write up something that says, here's what's going to happen if we divorce, that in the back of my mind, I'm already kind of building a back door.
Yep. It's an out.
Right.
I agree.
So he already built a back door. He was like, listen, if this splits up, you're going to be loaded. I'm going to take care of you. You're going to get $70K a month. However, and he didn't say this, but he didn't say, I know you're going to get bigger. He said, I suspect you're going to get bigger and I'm going to get richer. So because of that, if you gain 10 pounds, for every 10 pounds, you lose 10K.
That's horrible. Like up front, I think you said the James Sexton that he said, like, why would you even marry someone that says that to you?
Yeah, that's crazy. Listen,
that's a red flag to me.
And he even said in the podcast, this is the craziest prenup clause he's ever come across.
Yeah.
And he's a famous divorce lawyer.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Man, so listen, that's the media mix down. We would love to hear your thoughts about this. We got a couple folks. I don't know. They may not want to say, because they may not be.
They might be watching with their spouse.
Yeah, they may not. They may be like, I ain't, I probably should have done the same thing. So they don't really want. They don't want to put it in the comments.
Wow.
They don't want to put it. It's cool. We cool. We're gonna give you a pass. We're gonna keep you safe. We're gonna keep you safe from this one. But that's the media mix down. Look that up so you can hear what James Sexton says about that. He's on this podcast and there's another thing I'm gonna share about him in maybe another episode. But that's the media mix down. Prenups, the craziest ones that I've ever heard in terms of clauses. Listen, love on your folks, man. They might gain a couple pounds. It's okay. Go for walks. Go for bike rides.
Be strategic. Say, let's go for a walk.
Yeah, let's go for a walk. Have more sex, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, burn some calories.
Let's go for a walk together.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go faster.
Yeah.
Let's see who can win.
Are we talking about walks? Let's go faster. What are you talking about?
I was talking about walks.
Oh, because I said have more sex. I didn't hear nothing you said after that. So except for go faster. So it was like, yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
Oh gosh, I cannot.
That'll work. What's good, Kels? We got Kels. Shout out to Kels in the
Hello,
comments.
Kels.
Good evening to you as well. Thank you for being a part of
Kellen.
this. Listen, you got to go back. If you're just coming in now, you're going to have to go back after this is done and catch the media mix down. For those coming in and out, the media mix down was simply this. A couple got married. They signed a prenup. The prenup said that if they were to divorce, she would get $70,000. However, there was a clause that also said that for every 10 pounds she gains throughout the course of the marriage, 10K would be knocked off of that 70K. And they agreed to it. Let us know what you think about that. Man, crazy stuff.
Goodness,
listen,
if she gained 30 pounds.
Oh, yeah. It's a wrap.
She ain't getting nothing.
It's a wrap. Yeah. And what's crazy is if indeed he were to get richer, she couldn't get more of that anyway.
Right.
So, man, it's kind of setting her up for failure because if she has kids, she gonna gain weight.
Of course.
Period. So if anything else happens, she gonna gain weight. So that's a tough one.
That's rough.
That's a tough one. Listen, that's the media mix down. If you all have any suggestions for a media mix down, you can email us. Kel said, "Oh man, let me guess. She probably owe him money now." Well, it's still early, so we don't know. This is something that just happened. Famous New York divorce lawyer James Sexton talked about this recently in a podcast. So we don't know. We don't know what happened, if they're still together or not.
What if she gained like 70, 80 pounds? God forbid.
Then no money. And here's what's crazy. You know what's crazy? If that were to happen, he would probably divorce her.
Like, that seems unreal. Is this a real story?
It's a real story.
This guy for real?
He's for real.
Mercy.
He's one of the top divorce lawyers in America. And he tells stories about all the kind of crazy stuff that he's seen. Listen, if you got something that you like, man, have you all seen this or heard about this? Shoot us an email. The email is on the screen, admin@denali.org, and we'll be sure to get that into the media mix down. We got some great ones coming up, but we definitely want to hear from you and see what you got coming up. All right. Listen, we're trucking because my guy Pat is in the wings. We want to get him up here and hear what he has to say. We're going to be talking in the Marriage Minute about mental wellness, mental health in marriage. And we're going to be talking about some signs and some indicators and support and various things as it relates to marriage and mental health. But first, before we do that, we got to get the question of the week. Let's go. All right. Here we go. Question of the week. You saw the title, My In-Laws Are Outlaws. That comes from the question of the week. And the question of the week is this. What we got, guests? We got in-house guests too.
She's bringing my fan. I can't. Thank you.
All right. So the question of the week. Stephanie's in the house, folks. The question of the week. You want to read the question of the week?
Question of the week. My in-laws are out of control. They show up unannounced and navigate the home like it's theirs. Lord have mercy. They make decisions for us without my input or our input. It's like I'm invisible. It has to stop. Help me. Wow. So it has to stop. Now, here's a question. And I think this is what I would do, right? If it was your parents coming into our home and doing that, I would talk to you first.
Okay.
And say, this can't be. You know, you got to talk to them because that ain't right. I don't think I would go to my in-laws first and say something. That's number one.
Okay.
I would start there. No, you wouldn't.
Well, I don't know, because it depends. I think there is room for you to go directly to the in-laws. I think you got to know.
Maybe it depends.
You got to know the family dynamic.
Yeah.
Right. So there may be some instances where you could go directly to the in-laws and say, hey, listen, this is not how this is going to play out.
Right.
And there's some instances where you have your spouse go and say, hey, listen, in this case, in this case, was it a he? It doesn't say, does it?
It doesn't say.
So in this case, the person in the question
that
is
the wife wrote this.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm assuming that, but
we can assume either way. But whoever the person is, they're saying that they're invisible. So obviously, going directly to the in-laws is probably not going to work, because if they're already invisible, they just going to probably get blown off. Like, hey, listen, then you blowing this out of proportion. We love our son or daughter or whatever, and we just want to make sure they're okay. And this is for the good of the relationship, kind of thing.
Yeah. What's up, Nordia? I see you joined us over on Facebook.
I don't see her comment.
Welcome.
Why didn't it come
here?
up?
I don't know.
Shout out to Nordia. I don't see it up here, so I'm glad you caught it over there.
I don't know.
So here's the thing. And this is gonna sound tough, but it's right. Your marriage comes first.
Absolutely.
Period.
100%.
Your marriage comes first, and your family needs to be made aware of that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And number two, your spouse should not be allowing you to be invisible.
Correct.
That's unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Your spouse should not be allowing you to be invisible.
Yeah.
If your spouse feels like they are invisible, it's something you ain't doing right.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the in-laws are only going to take as much rope as they get. So, that I wouldn't even blame the in-laws for this. Shout out to Carrie Ann. What's up? Thank you for being here, Carrie Ann. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so that's my thing.
That's why I feel like I would, like I said, if this was your parents, that's why I feel like I would, or another reason why I would come to you and be like, because I want to handle that.
I should be standing up for you.
Correct.
Right.
You might want to handle that. You really don't want me to handle that because you know my spicy mouth.
Right.
Not only that, it's just you're supposed to do that.
I'm supposed to do that.
You're supposed to cover me. You're supposed to stand up for me.
Right.
And you're supposed not even me. You're supposed to cover our marriage. You're supposed to cover and stand up for our marriage. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Especially in this case where it says it's like I'm invisible.
Yeah, that can't be.
If you are invisible and your spouse is okay with that, the problem is with your spouse. The problem ain't with your in-laws.
Yeah. I was thinking about this before we came on. This is correct, what we're saying, right? But I feel like there are so many people who are very uncomfortable standing up to their parents like that. And it could be because of the way the way they were raised, the way they were brought up, to never allowed to speak their mind. When they were growing up, it might have not a toxic relationship or whatever. And so they've always kept the peace with their spouse. I mean, with their parents.
Yeah.
And so now it's difficult for them to stand up to them because of what their family dynamic was like when they were raised.
I can see that.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I'm just saying that could be a reason.
That could be a reason. Shout out to PG Paul Graham in the comments. She said, yo, invisible. Kel said, love that answer. Oh, yeah. So listen, those of you who may be just introduced to me, I'm going to tell you what I think. Right. And if this was a couple that was sitting in front of us, they would get the same thing you just heard me say.
Yeah.
This ain't about your in-laws, because your in-laws are only going to only do as much as you let them do.
As you allow.
So if they showing up unannounced and they navigating the home like it's theirs, that's your fault.
Yeah.
That ain't their fault. You let them do it, so they going to do it.
However, having said what I would do, if you didn't handle it, I would.
As you should. And if I didn't, and if you asked me to handle it and I didn't, that's a problem.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
That's a problem, because that speaks to my inability to stand up for you. And for us, not just you, to stand up for us.
That's what I'm saying, for the marriage.
Right.
It's bigger than just, or it's as equal as being able or not being able to stand up to me.
Right. It's about the union.
Yeah.
It's about the union.
Not being able to stand up for our union is a problem.
And let me say this. It don't have to be no knockdown.
No, absolutely not.
Yelling and screaming and cursing kind of situation. You ain't no. Sit down and have a conversation. Hey, listen, mom, dad, this is how we choose to run our household.
Right.
You understand what that's like because you ran your household.
Yes.
And now it's time for us to do that.
Yeah.
We allow us to leave and cleave.
Yeah.
And part of the leaving and cleaving is us setting these specific boundaries.
Yeah.
And you respecting my spouse. My spouse cannot be invisible in your presence.
Yeah.
It don't have to be no yelling and screaming and nothing like this. Say what you got to say and live by it.
I think parents of the generations before us, I think that they have a difficult time with boundaries.
Generation to some degree.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I think that they have it. I think that sometimes they're like, how dare you? I'm your mother, or I'm your father type thing. Can you not hear me anymore?
I can hear you. You just couldn't hear you because it came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can see that. So, but here's the thing. Listen, the truth of the matter is they gotta get over it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There ain't no other way to say that. There ain't no nice, wonderful, flowery way to say that. Paul said, wow, there is an importance to allow your spouse to feel safe. Yes, your spouse should feel safe. By 100%. Under no circumstances should this be the case where it's like I'm invisible.
Yeah. And let's say this. And this might be difficult for some people, right? If they have a difficult time standing up to their parents or standing up for their marriage, this might be difficult to hear. But the boundaries need to be set where once you say to your parents, I respect and appreciate how you did things in your household, but we've decided that this is how we're going to do things in our household. We're not going to do that. And you can't come in and do XYZ. If they ignore that and they still continue to do what it is that they do, it's time to change the locks. It's time to take the keys back. It's time to not visit them. Boundaries have to be as strong as you need them to be. And that's unfortunate, but you can create those types of boundaries even with your parents if you need to.
You have to.
For the sake of your marriage.
You have to.
That's hard to hear.
That's hard to hear,
but it's hard to even do, but it is the truth.
It's the truth. Shout out to Migs.
You left and you cleaved.
You have to leave and cleave. You cannot cleave and not leave at the same time.
You can't.
It's impossible.
You can't. Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
You can't. Shout out to Migs. Migs said,
what's up?
I've always thought boundaries were of a personal and cultural thing. I could see that. And that may the personal and cultural piece may be a component of boundaries. But the boundaries really come from what you and your spouse determine they are.
Yes.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, that may be different for different people, because from a personal and cultural perspective, there may be some families where you can have a very extensive level of familial engagement, and it will be okay.
Right.
And nobody feels left out. Nobody feels invisible. Yeah, they're running around the house and they cooking and they grabbing stuff out of the refrigerator and all that, but it's cool. So it depends on your dynamic. But at the moment that it becomes this, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's
the
a problem.
moment that one of us have a problem with it, it's a problem.
It's a problem. Let us know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what you think about that. Don't shout out your in-laws if they are outlaws. Just let us know what you think about that. Listen, if you have questions, we will take questions from anyone and everyone for this question of the week segment. Again, feel free to email us at admin@denali.org, and we will make sure that we include your question in the question of the week segment. Again, the question of the week is, my in-laws are out of control. They show up unannounced and navigate the home like it's theirs. They make decisions for us without my input. It's like I'm invisible. It has to stop. Help me.
Mercy.
Help this person in the comments. Let us know what you think about how to navigate the in-law situation. You heard our 2 cents. Listen, you should be standing up for your spouse. You should be standing up for your marriage.
Yeah.
You are one. So if one is invisible, so are you, even though you think you might not be. So help yourself. How about that? That's the question of the week. Listen, Miggs is in the comments. Miggs said to the statement, the in-laws aren't the only issue here. Definitely got to check my spouse. We're a team now. They're support staff. Yes, absolutely. You're right, Miggs. And that's what Nisi was saying a little earlier. That's where it starts. The in-laws ain't the problem. In this question of the week, the in-laws ain't the problem. The in-laws are going to do exactly
whatever
what you
let
allow
them to do.
Yeah. So that's what's up. So that's the question of the week, man. We like I said, if you have questions that you want us to give our 2 cents on, make sure that you email us, and we'll make sure that we get that question up and we get to talk about it. Listen, here's the segment we were waiting for. We got our brother Pat Graham in the house. Pat Graham is coming to talk to us during the Marriage Minute about mental health in marriage. All right. So we're going to get Pat Graham up right now for the Marriage Minute. Let's go. What's up, Pat Graham?
The one and only.
Man, I was in the background just listening to the whole thing. I was like, prenup? Okay.
Bro. It's craziness, fam.
See, like, the sad part about it, anybody who's watching right now, you got to go all the way back and listen to what this thing is all about, because it's obviously not a Jamaican that's dealing with it, because the more pounds they get,
right,
the happier the brother is.
Exactly.
The more they lose weight, you be like, the maga so
too maga.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be grounds for divorce.
Yeah,
exactly.
Wow, what a segment.
This crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff, man. Thank you, first of all, for being here. Introduce yourself. I know that, probably our audience and those who you are as well, but introduce yourself and what you do, how you serve the world.
Well, first of all, we've been brothers for a long time. I can't even. It's too long. I mean, we might as well. We will soon be changing our depends together.
Right.
But God has blessed me. When we lived together, did youth ministries out of Andrews University. Then in working in the conference office, I've with youth ministries, I recognized that the family is the most important piece of the pie, and ended up going back to school to do my master's in counseling. And after I did the master's in counseling, it just made me realize that it made me see the world different. My world view just changed altogether, to the point where, and I say this all the time, I just had to apologize to everyone that I served, because I was just doing it wrong the whole time.
Wow.
And then and then going into my PhD. Y'all got to pray for me. I'm working on my dissertation. I just got to finish it. That's it. Once I finish it, y'all don't have to call me doctor. I just need to know that I am.
Hey, listen, man.
Anybody call me doctor that we were friends in the past and said my mom didn't give me that name. So call me Patrick. So that's what right now I'm not licensed yet. So I do a lot of coaching, families, coaching young people. I don't want to call it therapy because it's not, but I find myself still involved in helping people make it through, and and working on myself. That's one of the biggest things. Here we are. We always say, "Do as I say, but don't do as I do," and you end up falling apart all the way around. So mental health is a big deal for me right now, and I believe that God has called me into that direction to help others.
Man, that's awesome. And that's
fantastic.
That ties right into what we're talking about in the Marriage Minute today, man. We're talking about mental health in marriage, right? And there are so many couples who deal with this silently, where one spouse or sometimes both are battling with their mental wellness. And I think I want to start out by asking you this: what are some signs, or maybe potential signs, indicators that something is amiss, that my spouse is struggling with something and it just doesn't seem right? What are some things that are some potential indicators of that?
First of all, let me just say this, that married couples, they have the lowest blood pressure. They stress the less, they stress less. Marriage is supposed to make life wonderful. It's not supposed to cause mental illness, but we do have chemical imbalances. We do have behavioral imbalances that come around postpartum depression, even in marriage, after mother is giving birth. There's so many different things that comes along, but the biggest thing is for you to notice when there's a behavioral change. Okay. As soon as you start to see, it could be a whole lot of things, but let me be like really specific. When you find that they're turning in the bed at night, you just keep turning, that they're not getting sleep, the adequate sleep. That is the biggest sign that you can see that something is happening, or they're staying up late watching TV because they can't sleep, right? That means their mind is continuing to run and run and run and run. And when you don't get the sleep that you need, you become irritable. So you're irritable at work, you come home, you're irritable with the kids, you're irritable with each other. And so those are some of the quick signs. There are also other signs when not eating or overeating. Because you're so much in a personal stance, you can watch your spouse go through certain things. Sometimes you're talking to them and they don't answer you, and you're like, because they're somewhere else. Those are some signs, and those are some subtle signs that you could see that something is wrong here. Something is not happening right now. Of course, we're talking about simple. There's some major ones that something is wrong. I mean, they could have temper tantrums, split personalities, just leaving out the house, and some of these can be caused also by menopausal. Go into menopause and all that, and the man is not understanding what is actually going on hormonal, or I guess the other word is hormonal, and I'll ask Natalie later. But there's so many different things that can occur. But the other part of it is that we hide it from each other, and then when you hide it from each other, that's what makes it worse, because you can't go on the same journey together.
Right. Wow.
Why do you think, and please interrupt me, I just gave me a question.
Go ahead.
Why do you think in a scenario where we love each other, at least we should, and we share life with each other, we're doing life together, why is it that we hide that? Even in that scenario, you would think that the first person I'd go to is be like, babe, listen, something ain't right.
Yeah.
Why do you think we hide that from each other?
Especially if you start off superficial. If you, and you guys already know this, I mean, if you start the marriage superficial, then there's so many things that you're hiding from them. I mean, you know, and I'm not even trying to be crass with this, but you know, I'm at the point now in 29 years, I can use the bathroom with the door open. Okay, you got a problem with that? That's on you. You know what I mean? I mean, there are certain things that there are couples who don't pass gas in front of each other. There are couples who don't burp in front of each other. Some people get up early to wash their face and brush their teeth because you know, and I hate to call it that, but it's superficial because you don't want those little things. You don't want them to lose a love for you or you know, the key is when you're going through a mental health crisis, which everyone will go through a mental health crisis at one time or another in their life, or a continuum of it. The best person to go to is someone you trust.
Yeah.
And if you don't trust them, then how are you going to look for that healing property or someone to look after you while you're going through that?
Yeah.
Ali, Denise, if I break my leg, I can't hide that from Natalie. I can't hide that from the kids. I can't do that, you know, though they see me hopping along. So one of the things that I think is necessary is to be open with what it is that's going on, because you will heal faster as the marriage is there for healing properties.
Yeah. If
you go back to Genesis, when God took from Adam, you both, I don't understand it. I'm not clear on it, but I'll just have to ask when I get there. When you're married, you even start to look alike.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you work and like, oh, you're brothers and sisters. You can pass for brothers and sisters. You're like, nah, I'm just starting to look like him, and he's just starting to look like me. Yeah. But it's deeper than that. There's actually chemical changes that occur with each other. Yeah. Wherein, if you're losing something along the way, you have to be able to look at the signs and say, let's heal together. Because if she's not healing or she's going through something, we're both going through it.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing well, we're not doing well. It's going to always remind me of that slave thing, y'all, where the slave comes in and be like, the master, we sick.
Right.
We sick if the master is sick.
Yeah.
In our situation, if your wife is sick, you sick. If you sick, your wife is sick. So we got to look at those signs.
Mick said, yeah, Denise and Oliver definitely look alike.
Guys, it's true, man. It's true.
Definitely look alike. Yeah, listen, we've been around each other long enough.
Yes, Miggs, I owe you some more pound cake. He said, love y'all like pound cake. Talk about my pound cake.
That's my man, Miggs. That's my man, Miggs.
That's what's up. But you bring up a good point in terms of when it's not the spouse, it's both of us that are in there. That's good.
So another question then to that would be, how do you help your spouse, or how would I help us navigate through that? Like, what would be the first thing that I should do if I notice something is off? If I notice that, you know, he's not mentally, emotionally, or behaviorally all there like he used to be, like something is clearly going on. How can I help us navigate through that?
He has to admit it. When I say he, you know what I mean? The spouse has to admit that there's something wrong. You cannot help someone who is not admitting that they're going through something. And there are times on a personal level that I didn't want her to see that. I didn't want, I've been, and I don't even call it battling anymore. There's a time that you battle and there's a time that you manage. I'm in the management stage right now, right? And there's sometimes you don't want your spot. You say to yourself, I can do it on my own. No, you can't do it on your own. Do you know, like, for example, when both of you are in the grocery store, somebody says something, you both could look at each other without making a face, and you already know what the other person is thinking.
Right.
It's the same thing. Your wife or your husband knows something is wrong.
Not right.
Right? It's equivalent to having an affair, right? You could just look at the person and be able to say they're off balance. They don't know what it is. And remember, you can have an affair. You don't have to have a sexual affair. You can have a mental affair. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you're going through this type of thing, the husband and the wife feel like there's something missing. And I know that's not what it's about, but isn't everything we deal with mental? Everything. So Denise, you you fix dinner for him. I see y'all on Facebook. Y'all be cooking and all this kind of stuff on there. And Ali don't want to eat. Like, yo, what's going on?
Right.
What's happening? Now I'm cool. He playing a silent game. It's not just the women. Males, we can play the silent game. We can go into our little corner somewhere. We can. I take walks, and if I'm taking a long walk, it's like, okay, something is happening. You gotta admit something is happening. Even if you say something is happening, I don't want to talk about it right now, or something is happening with me, I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what I'm feeling, because sometimes we go through this thing called existentialism, if I said it right, and what ends up being, what is life about? What am I doing here? What, am I fulfilling is there a God? Is there this? You're going through so many things, and we're at that age where we're going through it, that if we don't hold on to something, you could just run away with it. It's just gone. And so, Denise, you asked a simple question: how do you know? It's an imbalance. You know each other well enough to be able to say something is missing, something is off. That's a better word to say. Something is off, and just admit that there's something. There's something wrong, because you can't work on it without that. And what I mean by work on it is this: we need to go see someone.
Okay.
And that means not by yourself. I'm taking you to go see someone. I'm going to sit there with you while you see someone. If it's too private, I'll walk out the room.
That's really a good point. I never really thought that. I want to help you through it. I'll help you find, a therapist. Here's a therapist. Okay, go ahead. But you're saying both of us should go.
Yeah. Natalie, something going on with her knees or whatever. She's afraid. I am too, to go into the MRI machine. They have some open ones and some closed ones. I would be next to her holding her hand if I had to be there, if she's in the machine.
That's true.
The problem with us, and it's also cultural, and I'm hoping that they break the stigma as far as this is concerned, is that if I have high blood pressure, I'll go to the doctor. If I go in a cardiology situation, I'll go to the doctor, right? I mean, if you're painting somewhere, you go to the doctor, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But listen, what's even better than mental health? That we accept? ED. Come on, we're grown folks.
Wow, really?
You can sit around here and talk to you and say, man, honey, I don't know what's going on. There must be something in my mind, but I ain't getting hard, or I'm not having an erection. And then you sit there and everybody be like, yo, I understand, man, me too. Men we talk like that, right? Not at 20s though, but now we're in this age, we be like, man, I don't know. You have a bad day, there's no way that the flag will raise. But the point on the other side of it is, when you go through, you could easily talk about ED. You could easily talk about blood pressure, diabetes. You could talk about all that. But when it comes to mental health, it's taboo. It's taboo. And so, if I can take her to take x-rays or even go to the dentist, I need to go there in the room with her. She comes to the room with me, unless it's something private. And there's some things private. There's some things private that you need to talk to your psychiatrist or your nursing practitioner or your therapist about, so that you could be able to move forward from there. Let me just say,
fantastic.
Go ahead, Ali. Go ahead. No, go.
No, finish your thought.
Finish your thought.
The reason why I'm saying that is because everyone, I said it in the beginning, will go through some type of crisis. Sometimes you can make it on your own. Man, you could call on the name of Jesus. I'm not trying to be funny. You could call on the name of Jesus, open the word, stay in the word, play certain songs, go in nature, water bound, you can sunshine. You can heal that way. But the problem is that you can't get to that healing point. You can't get to that place
right
where you can heal. That's what your spouse is there for them to say, let's go, let's move. It's like swimming. I'm definitely afraid of water. I'll save my own life, but I'm definitely afraid of water. Master Guide, youth ministries. And then I decide, okay, I'm gonna try this. But I don't want to go in the water unless she's close by because she can swim. You understand what I'm saying? I know I'm bringing up all that stuff, but when it comes to a mental health situation, I need her close by so that she will recognize that I didn't take a shower 3 days in a row. I didn't brush my teeth 3 days in a row. You understand what I'm saying? I'm snippy. There's certain things you can't watch. There's certain things on TV. There's certain things that's bothering you. You're not answering your phone. You're not talking to, I'll call Ali back. You mean good, but you don't have it.
You don't have it. Yeah.
You're losing interest in things. That can happen within a marriage, but if you don't turn around and be like, hey, babe, what's going on? What's happening? And don't be ashamed to say, this is what's happening with me. And to be honest with you, when you're battling together, the love kind of tightens as you battle together. It even says that as far as the mental health is concerned, couples stay together longer through mental health, not because they feel sorry for each other, but aren't we helpmeets to each other?
Yes, absolutely.
And so that because you feel a part of you is dying, so let me give life back to that person. And it's depression, PTSD, split personalities. I can name 10, 15 of them, and some of us have 3 and 4 and 5 of them, and we can function in the day at work. You hear what I said? You can function. You can do it. And then when you come home and you open the door, the first person you want to crap on is the people who love you the most. Sorry, you caught me on a tangent, man.
No, that's perfect, man. And you started talking about what support looks like from the other spousal support looks like from that perspective. And I think I want to end there, but I want to get Mig's question before we go to spousal support. Mig said, follow up to Denise's question, how do you differentiate between a temporary hardship and a total shift?
Ooh.
You don't know.
Wow.
You have to treat the temporary shift as though it's a long-term one.
Okay.
Because you don't know.
You don't know.
So the same way you kick in applies to both.
Yeah, because you don't know. I mean, how many of us have a headache? And I don't want to put fear into anyone's mind, but you have a headache. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna take 2 pills. Meanwhile, you may be hemorrhaging and you don't know.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So you have to take everything seriously.
Right.
I don't have my books open in front of me, but there are those who do therapy who understand that in the DSM books that we use to diagnose some of these things, it'll tell you if you're going through this for 30 days or if you're going through something for 60 days. Those things may be temporary, but they may have lasting effects if you're just putting Band-Aids on it. And religion can be a Band-Aid. Denominational type of thing that we go through, we're in the same denomination, can cause you to go through more trauma. You can go through more guilt than and sometimes shame. Somebody said it earlier, shame and guilt is something that can keep you locked down somewhere. So religion is not necessarily the answer. Now, Jesus is the answer, but not necessarily religion, and church is not the answer.
That's right.
For you to get your mental capabilities together. So I have to say, you have to treat both of them, not both, but you have to treat a simple thing. The other day I missed Jasmine. Right, just miss seeing her, and then all of a sudden you kind of see yourself going down the slippery slope quick. You understand what I'm saying? And Natalie would say, "What's going on?" I said, "Oh no, I want to talk to Jasmine, whatever." And I could be using Jasmine for something that's bigger over here. Her. You know what I'm saying? But when you get into the slippery thing, and then you got to be like, hold on, okay, hold on. talk to yourself. Right? I mean, really talk to yourself. Say, hey, okay, Pat, what's going on? What's going on? For me, I have a pad, and I start to write down stuff like, okay, how am I feeling? Jacked up. I feel this way. I feel this way, that way, and the other. Sometimes I have to write it down for me to even look at it. I have to look at it. And I'm not talking about using my notes on my phone. The way you press down and the way that you write, it's like a mini journal for you, so that you say, okay, why are you upset? Okay, I'm upset because, man, the sun just didn't come out today. And that was something else too, because you can go through depression based on the weather.
Right.
And then I had to sit around and say, wait a minute, the sun is out. It's the clouds. You have to change your perspective. And your family. I know we're not going straight out to family, but your wife, your husband is supposed to be able to say, you know what, today is not going to be a bright day. Let's go ahead and work on something. See how he's doing. Call him twice, then instead of calling him every, and it works out that way. You got to work this thing out together.
Man, that's
fantastic.
good. It's resonating in the comments. Shout out to I saw Gamal in the comments earlier.
What's up, Gamal?
Damon and Kimberly. I hope I said that correctly. It's resonating. Church is not the answer. Identify it. Speak. Church would have you even more trauma, Kimberly said. So treating those, that's good, man. Like you don't know. And so you don't want to dismiss what you think may be temporary. Oh, they'll get over it. They'll be all right. Oh, they just having a bad day. They'll be cool. And
we use this word.
Take that chance.
I know we got to roll, but they use this word called psych. Remember how we use that in the streets? Or psych, I psyched you out. Yeah, that comes from the word psychology or psychiatric, right? That's the short of it. The streets know what we're talking about, right? Yeah. The real thing is that you're trying to psych yourself out. So if you get to the place where you have to be on meds, go from 35 milligrams to 75 milligrams. Some people need 150 milligrams. And then they find, wait, I'm doing better. Sometimes the meds is slowing you down just so that you can think, because your brain is more powerful than the meds.
Yeah. Wow.
So the meds is just giving you, hey, slow down a little bit, stop thinking, now think about this. And then you get to the repair. And once you start repairing, then you move from 150 to 75 to 35, then to 0. You see what I'm saying? Some people, and that's why I said to people, if you have to stay on 75 or 150 to live a normal life, stay on it.
Okay too. Yeah.
Just stay on it, because that's why God gave us the herb of the land. And I'm not talking about weed, but that works too. It works too, right? But that's why we have these meds too. But if you find yourself slipping, and let me tell you what slipping is. If you find yourself slipping, if you find yourself playing, if you find yourself going on porn, if you find yourself, and I'm being realistic now, right? If you find that you're turning every now and then to look at that lady over here, if you find that a movie got you going this way, if you start to see those little things within yourself, because your wife not gonna see all of that. Then you got to get to the place now where you have to say, okay, there needs to be a turn. Honey, I've been watching some things I shouldn't watch. That don't mean you gotta get a divorce. That means something is wrong.
Something's wrong.
Start working on it, man. I'll be turning around looking, because you're looking for something else. That is sanctification. I'm flipping it spiritual now, because it's a work of a lifetime. Your mental capabilities is a work of a lifetime. So when we get up in the morning, you say, I'm so glad, Jesus, that I'm in my right mind. Our parents used to say that they used to say that, and I say it now.
Absolutely.
I'm glad every day I'm in my right mind. That's it.
Man,
Mick said all I heard was Pat telling me to smoke weed.
Hey, that's good, man. Listen, we don't want to keep you too long. We know you got another appointment, but just end off with this. What are some very practical ways that a spouse can support? What does support look like? Spousal support look like boots on the ground, some practical stuff people can start doing.
Once we've admitted, or once he's admitted to me, yeah, you're right, babe. I'm not feeling it.
And you talked about some stuff. Right. You talked about, going with them and some of the things, but give us a couple more that we can take away.
You may have to come off of the coffee. You know, you may have to come off of the caffeine. You may have to help them. You know, don't answer the phone after 8. Don't answer the phone after a certain time. I'm talking about those are some real practical stuff.
Yes.
Let's have a wind down. That was another one for me. Let's have a wind down. So yeah, I'm in the bed early, 9:30. You know, we watch Raymond. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that you watch, even if she doesn't want to watch it or I don't want to watch certain things, there has to be a wind down time, but you have to wind down together. You don't want to wind down by yourself. Come on, you're a couple. Sometimes you got to take showers together.
Wow.
Sometimes you have to take the baths together. Everything is not sexual. Sexual is not your organ. The biggest sexual organ you have is your brain. Right? You don't even have to, as you get older and we notice, you can have sex a million times. It doesn't mean anything until you're connected up here.
That's right.
So some of the practical things is do things together. Take that walk together. Do that mile together. Tomorrow do 2. So that when you watch her or him when they sleeping, or they having a restful night, or they because it all starts from sleep. Most mental breakdowns that you have starts with I'm not getting enough sleep, so that your brain is not regenerating. It has to regenerate.
Right.
We're older now. We need the 6 and 7 hours. We need it, even if it's just sitting back. So there's some of the practical things. Do some things together. Go on vacation together. I ain't say all the way to Cancun. You could go on vacation. We're in the Maryland area. You can go to the Eastern Shore.
That's right. Absolutely.
For vacation. You don't got to go far. You're together.
Together.
You know? So we got to do what y'all do. And what you guys are doing, you don't recognize it. When you're helping people through their marriage and come up with all these little tiny things. Oh, no. Those little tiny things build great foundations. So sometimes it's okay. Just go walking. We go to D.C. and walk. You can go to different places and just walk.
Yeah.
And when you're walking, you're going to talk.
Yeah.
You gotta talk. I'm not talking about going to the movies because you can't talk in the movies.
Right. That's
you got to spend some real good time together.
Yeah.
That will help because honestly and truly, when our kids leave and Stephanie and them out the door and they all gone, it's only the Bodo Uno.
Yep.
And so just that's some of the practical things. We could write them all down, but some of the practical things.
You know, I love the whole walking together thing. I saw a story or a reel or something today, and I posted it because it said that when you're walking, they weren't talking about walking together, but they were talking about when you are feeling anxious and you walk. It does something to your brain because your eyes are shifting.
It's true.
And looking all over the place. And that makes, I can't remember the actual, the correct term, but it makes whatever in your brain makes you anxious. It blocks
Slows
that.
it down. That's right.
Yeah, it blocks that because now your eyes are shifting as you're walking, looking all over the place, and it shuts down whatever makes you anxious.
That's true. That's another show. That's also because you're right about that. There's certain things that you can actually shut down. That's why some people, when they feel anxious, they go for a drive.
Right.
Because they have to start using all of their senses.
Yes.
So when you're anxious, you're relying on certain faculties that you have that you can't even breathe because you are so worried about something that your breathing pattern changes.
That's right.
It changes to the point it's like you're holding your nose so you feel faint. You're not recognizing that you didn't
and then you start to panic about that.
Yeah, you start panicking. Like, wait a minute. If you really have to stop, you say, I didn't breathe. I didn't take a breath in 40 seconds. Not recognizing that the walk is paramount to getting your mind back in shape. It works like that.
That's good.
But let this mind be in you. Let this mind be in you.
Yes.
Just believe it or not.
Christ Jesus.
Kimberly said walking is a natural antidepressant. Good stuff, man.
Hey,
Pete, appreciate you, my brother. Thank
you
for coming through, man, in our marriage minute and
this was so rich.
Dropping some knowledge on us, man. We appreciate it.
A longer minute, but you know the deal.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Great.
We appreciate you. Damon comments a dope conversation.
Really
great. Coming through and being a part of this, man. And it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Mental. And here's the thing. I want to say this for those of you who are watching the replay. This is good stuff. Even if you don't feel like you are in crisis, because mental wellness is the same as physical wellness, right? Just like you go get a checkup, you don't just go to some of us do go to the doctor when everything's falling apart. But what you're supposed to do,
we'll talk about that later, man.
Right, be some level of maintenance. And so I think this is pertinent across the board, man. So definitely thank you for being here. Appreciate you, man.
No doubt, man. We're family. There's no doubt about it.
Indeed.
I be listening to y'all after dark. Kind of that after dark joint.
Yeah, them after dark conversations are something else, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you too? Okay.
Yeah.
They all in the chat, like, okay.
Hey, I'm telling you, yeah. Since you mentioned it, what Pat is talking about is our Saturday night show, have a conversation after dark. Listen, if you have not seen one of these, go to our YouTube channel and check out these, man. Conversations are off the chain, the chain. So really appreciate you, big bro. Listen, if you want to hang out or if you got a role, then we're good. I'll shoot you in the back. But if you want to hang out, we're gonna wrap it up with the last word, and then
do your thing, man. Put me in the back.
On our way.
I'll be listening from the green room.
Appreciate you, bro.
Give our love to Nat.
Sure will.
Indeed.
Right.
See ya.
Great marriage minute. Great
that
marriage minute, ladies and gentlemen. That was good. If you missed any of it, you got to go back and watch this and take some notes. Mick said he likes the after dark during the wind down.
Yeah.
Mick's been in the comments.
Right.
I love it. Listen, so you got some great tips. There's a lot that you can take from this episode. We started out with the media mix down, talking about that crazy prenup. Then we went into our question of the week, talking about crazy in-laws, and it kind of looks like it's not really the in-laws that are crazy. It looks like the issue is with the couple,
the spouse,
and some things that they got to do. And then you got this phenomenal marriage minute. And so before we get out of here, the very last segment is the last word. So let's get into the last word. So real simple last word for today's show. The last word is simply this. You got to spend more time together.
Oh,
that's it. Nothing super deep. And I love what Pat said, right? Because Pat talked about doing things together.
Yeah.
And we often talk about experiential intimacy and how building your experiential intimacy is a catalyst for growth in your relationship.
Yeah.
So the last word is simply be more intentional about doing things together.
Yeah.
About spending time together, about creating experiences that will be a catalyst for the growth of your intimacy holistically. I'm not just talking about in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Holistically, your intimacy, right? There are many ways that you can do that. We talk about experiential intimacy all the time, and the fact that it has two requirements. One, that you be in the same place, and two, that there's a common goal, right? Yep. So if you're cooking a meal in the kitchen together, you're in the same place, you're in the kitchen, and the common goal is you're making something for you both to eat. Be intentional about creating these experiences. These experiences are a bonding agent for your relationship, for your marriage. That's it.
That's it.
And
it doesn't have to cost much or anything. It can be as simple as, look, it's kind of tight this week. Let's just order our favorite takeout. Let's order Chick-fil-A and let's find a movie to watch together.
Yeah.
It can be as simple as that. You don't even have to spend anything, not even Chick-fil-A money.
Yeah.
Let's just get in the bed early and watch a movie together. It can be as simple as that. Let's go for a walk.
Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a drive. Whatever it is, right? Be intentional about doing that. It is a bonding agent for your relationship. Yeah. We got managing stress, anxiety, and depression in the comments.
Oh,
that's what's up.
Yes, that's our.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, so whiny. Yep. So Damon said, thank you. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you being here, Damon. And shout out to everybody that was in the comments: Miggs, Damon, Kimberly, Paul, Graham, Gamal, Kellen was in the comments. A couple other people were in the comments that we missed. Carrie Ann, thank you for being here and being a part of this show. Listen, that's all we got to say.
That's all we got to say.
It was a great episode. Now, I will encourage those of you who came in later on in the show, I really need you to go back and listen to the media mixdown. I would love to hear your thoughts on the media mixdown. I'm gonna tell you what it is real quick, and then I'm gonna let you say what you have to say. In the media mixdown, we talked about a couple who had a prenuptial agreement, right? And the agreement says that if they were to divorce, the wife would get $70,000 a month. So obviously, this guy's loaded. The clause, however, says that if she gains, for every 10 pounds she gains throughout the marriage, that $70K goes down by $10K. I'm just going to leave it there. Go back and listen to the conversation. Let us know what you think. Go ahead and say what you
No,
say.
I was just going to say, whiny. If you are not following Managing Stress and Depression, MSAD, go and follow, because
yes, go follow.
Pat has he's doing good things over there.
Yeah, that's Pat Graham. So do some, make sure that you follow that. Shout out to Damon Cunningham in the comments as well. Follow him as well. Damon has a phenomenal podcast. Make sure that you're following him as well. And shout out to everybody else in the comments. This was a great episode.
Yeah, it was.
We are going to be here, God willing, every Thursday that we are available at this same time. We will have guests for many of these. Some it will just be us, but you will always get some good information, some practical tips, some things that you can do so that you can live out the relationship of your dreams.
Yeah.
Carrie Ann said, what? What's that? What's that? What for, Carrie Ann? Is that for MSAD, or is that?
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah. Let us know what that is. So we're going to end like this. Be intentional. You heard the tips that Pat talked about. Those are not just if you feel like you're in mental crisis. Those are things that you can incorporate into your marriage right now, today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Look for the signs. If you see the signs, you heard some of the things that Pat talked about. And you can go forth and be great.
Yeah.
One more time, make sure that you're here with us every Thursday for Inside the Relationship. Also, if you're up late on Saturday night, come through and check us out. Have a conversation after dark. Some great conversations happen after dark. So we want you to be a part of those conversations as well. Also, if you're not following us, be sure to follow us. There's some things that are going to be coming up late spring, summer. We're going to be doing some more things. So we want to keep you in the loop. We want you to be a part of this family, if you will. Yes, Carrie Ann, you got to go back. So when this is done, this is
that
done,
was crazy.
Go back and listen to our conversation about that. It's nuts. Yeah, crazy. So we're going to get out of here, family. Listen, man, thank you for being the best part of this. Those of you in the comments, we enjoyed every part of this. Hang out with us next week as we look inside the relationship.
Have a wonderful evening.
Blessings on you.
Good night.
We'll see you next week. Will we see you next week?
Yeah.
Yes, we'll see you next week.
What?
Peace.